So because we don't have an oven or a range top, I decided to do a couple of things that we can do just right here on the counter. And one of those is processing a salmon fillet, and then the other is making moose jerky with a really, really, really good, easy Korean marinade. So that's what we're gonna start out with. You will need this cutting board a little for this. But I want you to, you can go ahead and open up yours if you want. You know how, right? You know how to cut this fish? Do you want to cut it into strips? No. Oh, you don't know how? Oh, tough. I didn't think you could do that. I always cut them open. So go ahead and grab the soy sauce. And I don't know, put about a cup in there. Yeah, they're 2 fillets. Keep going. And then for Jennifer, can Jennifer have a handheld mic? Okay. No, I would put a little bit more. Yeah, about a cup. Perfect.
Just drop it down.
And then this is sesame oil. Put like a tablespoon in there.
Drop the lob unit down in front of the t-shirt.
Okay, perfect.
There you go.
And now, just a little dash of these sesame seeds. Do you want to help him separate that?
Separate the fish?
Yeah,
Yeah. With what?
just your hands. A little bit more, maybe. Okay, and then, that's good.
Sure.
Okay, we're going to help separate the fish.
This is tough.
And then, let's take a couple of these. On mine?
When you get a second.
Pretty frozen.
So go ahead and just cut those up into like 1-inch sections or something like that.
I'm good.
Perfect. And we just need 1 fillet, if you don't mind.
This one? Okay.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to use?
There we go.
Put that in your bowl.
Let's see this one.
That one bigger?
And then let's take a nice sized chunk of ginger. Yeah. We'll have to do a lot of trimming on it. Good.
About that?
You know, I like to go like this, and that way this is easier to cut up. So just take the skin off, and then cut it into sort of big chunks, because we don't want to dehydrate it. We just want, I would cut around it, and you don't have to be real perfect about it. Okay, so now take your ulok. It's still a little frozen, but run it along the fillet here into nice thin strips. Perfect. And then run it like this. Yeah.
Nice.
So a little bit harder so it gets the skin. Yep, perfect. Okay, and then, yeah, big chunks. Just enough to get the flavor. Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
Throw it in there.
Yeah, throw it in there. And then take some of that, a little bit of that garlic, that chopped garlic, and throw that in there. And then the final item for the marinade is sugar. Because there's so much salt in the soy sauce, you want to counteract a little bit of sugar to make sure it tastes good. Nicely done.
Those are good strips.
Oh, one more. A little bit there. Are your hands cold?
A little.
Do you do this back home?
Sometimes.
Okay. So this isn't normally how we do this, but for the purposes of this lunchtime thing, after you make this last cut, let's do the rest in a slab, just to show people how to do it. Okay, yeah, go ahead and add your sugar. And you need a little bit more sugar, sorry. Some more. Okay, good. Now let's set this aside. Now you can start cutting. So the trick to really good any kind of venison jerky, or any kind of jerky for that matter, is to cut against the grain. Because when you cut with the grain, it makes it really spindly. And I like my meat a little bit frozen because it ends up being easier to cut. We might have to change out uloks, but if you want to try this way to cut, otherwise I can help you.
Are slabs like squares?
Like, no, just make slits. Like this, diagonally this way, so that we can stretch the skin and create little air pockets here so that it'll end up looking like this. Maybe a little bit more in. Yeah, and not all the way down to the skin, just down to the skin. So through the flesh and down to the skin. And you can go like this if you want. See, you're doing good. And then, yay. And just keep going all the way down to the end of the tail. We might trade knives or uloks if we can. Because I think Anya needs a bigger one for this. Can we trade?
Yep.
Oh. So do you guys do any of this, Anya, at home?
No.
No. So is this your first time cutting moose meat?
No, my grandparents, they're subsistence hunters, and I cut moose with them and hunt.
Awesome. You want me to help you?
I think I got this one.
Okay. Perfect. So do you guys have any questions about moose or anything that you want to share with our viewing audience about processing, your experiences?
Anna.
Like you guys do this all summer, right? Spring, summer, fall in Quig?
I don't really cut fish, but I enjoy it.
Oh, good. Mom's over there in the crowd really watching. Nunuk her. So everyone processes fish and moose differently, but one of the things that I've learned is that the brine is. Are you done, or you want me to help you with the rest? Or you want to keep? Okay. So the brine, use rock salt with your water, and you want so much salt diluted that a potato will float. And that way, when you're done doing your strips or your slabs, you stick your fish in there for just a few minutes, and then it's ready to dry. So when you have strips like this that are produced from fillets, you'll want to tie them at the ends together. So with two strips that are equal length, equal weight-ish, so that they hang over a little pole nicely. There are other ways to do it that are easier. One of them is called pants. And so pants are when you keep this part attached, the skin attached, so that it hangs over a pole like this. And they look like little long pants. Oh, good, here we go. So this is what we call a slab. So it's still a little frozen, but what you do is you stretch it out a little bit, and that is what creates these pockets in the finished product. Or not pockets, slots in the finished product when it's dry, so it doesn't rot. And these are full, whole fish, filleted and then cut like this. So you put them in the brine, and then you air dry them. And people always have different times that they do this, but you really want them out there for 2 or 3 days. Here in Anchorage and on the road system, it's a little bit harder because our season is so late. And so we get a lot of flies, a lot of yellow jackets. So we just have to be creative in making sure that those yellow jackets, they'll eat everything from the skin to all the way to the bones. And then we smoke them for several days to make half dried, or smoke them longer for this fully dried kind of dry fish. How are you doing, Anya?
Good.
And then, if I could just really quick, I have a little bit of muktuk right here. Do you want to cut some muktuk?
Yeah.
Okay. You can put it in here.
Into what?
Do you want me to help you with those
Yes,
big ones? Okay.
Have you cut it before?
Maybe 1 or 2 more slices, and then it should be
How
a
do I
little
cut
bit
it?
easier again.
In what way?
Anna, how do you want them to cut it?
Into real thin little like matchsticks. So, yeah, perfect. So you'll have a little slice like this, and then you'll slice it like that. So you're good.
I need to start cutting.
Yeah, one more. But see, when it's frozen like this, it's so much easier, because when it's thawed out or fresh, it ends up just being sort of squishy.
Yeah.
So now I would just turn it like this and keep cutting, and then we'll strip these
The
out a
skin is
little
tough,
bit
right?
when you're done with this. Good. And now I would take these and cut them into little nice pieces. They're pretty chewy, so you want them pretty thin.
No, Tanya, no.
And then I also wanted to direct your attention to some of this agudak. Still frozen, but I wanted to bring it in for just an example. We're not going to make any today, but agudak is a lot of berries with a little bit of fat that binds everything together. So it's not the kind of agudak that maybe people from the lower 48 or other countries might recognize, but agudak is universally recognized in Alaska. Right? Mm-hmm. If you want me to help you, just let me know.
Okay.
Those are perfect.
It's doing really good.
I think we could go now.
You can?
Mhm.
Okay. With your, do you use your hands to mix?
Mhm.
What do you think, Jennifer? So Jennifer is my partner in Anna's Alaska, but she also is a co-founder for Beacon Media, and she agreed to come and help me. Thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome. Good to be here. This is cool. I didn't think they would be this thin.
What?
I didn't think they would be this thin.
This is
Yeah, no.
This was the part that's already cut up.
Yeah. No, you want them real thin unless they're cooked because they're pretty chewy.
Okay.
Do you want to try one?
Yeah.
Yeah, try one. Yay. Okay, that's good. For these, let me just thin them out just a tiny bit. So this piece has a nice piece of fat on it, which is always like one of my most favorite. Okay, so sort of make these into strips like this, not too thin.
Super chewy, but good.
Yeah. Interesting, huh? The first time I had muktuk, I was in my 30s, because on the Kuskokwim we don't
Right.
get that kind of stuff. We get fish. But now I'm addicted. Great job. So remember that this is not stable. Yay. Nice. Do some of these big chunks. These will be a lot longer, maybe into thirds. And then you can put all of these in here in the marinade. Just adjusting these because I wanted to show the final product after Anya has started to marinate the moose meat. You can tell it's just really easy. You know, traditionally it was maybe a little bit of salt, but you just air dried them in nice big long chunks, sort of like black meat or anything else, because that was how we preserve things, is either drying them or salting them, or fermenting them. But when you're fermenting anything, you know, there's a point of no return where it's just cooked too much. So drying and salting were you know, how we preserved food. And of course, there are many different recipes to follow. These are just my tried and true because I grew up doing it that way. And I think that the taste and flavors, I mean, it's just what I prefer, what I like best. But you can do them anyway. And then I just want to encourage everybody, don't be bashful. If you don't know how, it doesn't matter. We're all still learning. You could cut these up, you know, steak-wise. You can cut them up anyway if you want. if you're craving for dried fish, especially on the road system, do it however you can in a little, Walmart size smoker, or just hang them up outside. I've made cardboard smokers while out camping and fishing. Just add a little bit of smoke underneath a cardboard box, and that has produced gamasok, or the half smoked for me, and I've been able to can them right away. But no matter what, just ask people how to harvest, how to make things. Let's not let this part of our culture die. I mean, I know I won't, because I love eating this stuff several times a week, so. So what's your most favorite food from the land or from the ocean, from Alaska?
Probably dry fish.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Or
goes to
muktuk.
your Imangak roots and muktuk and your Inupiaq roots, yeah. So Anya's already almost done here. So this particular recipe for this marinade is very concentrated. If you want to overnight anything, you would add a bunch of water to get the flavor. So now stir this all up and get all that marinade over everything. So that way she only has to basically coat each piece of meat, and then she'll be able to put it on the dehydrator. I tend to use my dehydrator often because it works well for me and it's really easy. I do have a smokehouse, but in Anchorage it's 5 by 2 by 2, so it's not. I mean, it works, but it's it's sort of big and a little bit of a pain. Good? Mm-hmm. Okay. So now Anya is going to layer nicely, minus here, all of those pieces of moose meat onto the dehydrator. Anything else we should be talking about?
Just if anybody has any suggestions for recipes, send them to you.
Okay.
That'd be great, or stuff that they want to learn about. This has been great.
So Anna's Alaska has a Facebook page and a YouTube. We're working on a website. But if you have any questions or future recipe suggestions that you'd like us to highlight, send them our way. Yeah. While I help Anya, do you want to talk a little bit about social media real quick, Jennifer? Do you mind?
Sure. So when Anna first had the idea for Anna's Alaska, we were really looking at how we would get the word out and how that would help more people find out about just these awesome recipes, culture, everything. And it's taken off from social media around the world. So everything from the Travel Channel to Food Network,
A little bit, but not too
national
bad.
companies, it's been incredible how people have found it through social media and YouTube, even the BBC and around the world. I think that one of the great things about social media is it kind of levels the playing field. If people are really interested in something, they can find it, they can share it with their friends, and that's what's happened so far, and it continues to grow. It's an honor to be a part of it.
Yay! So Anya has almost all of these pieces of moose in the dehydrator here. I've made several batches this year, and really I can turn it on after work, after I've processed everything and put it into the dehydrator, and by the time I wake up in the morning, they're done. Which is nice, because now now I'm getting more and more of my dry meat quota for the year. Another one?
we do anything with the muktak?
Yeah, there's different, you can eat it plain or boiled, or one time I had the best beluga whale muktak soup, and it was just like chicken noodle soup,
Yeah.
but with muktak, and you would never think like that would taste good.
That sounds good.
It was so good. My should have been daughter Jenna's, but it wasn't her recipe, it was one of her friends. I tell you what, it was so delicious. Are you done?
Yep. Thank you very much.
So the power of television or being on this lunchtime show is that we have here the moose marinated for dry meat, and on the top 2 layers we have the finished product.
Nice.
So there it is, a couple different layers here. But you see how much they shrink up. These I did it just a little bit thinner, but I think we should do a taste test. What do you think? Mm-hmm. Okay.
They're really good.
Are they? Yay. Bigtun?
Wala na. What kind of meat is this?
Moose.
And that's really good.
Oh, doesn't it take like beef jerky?
These batches I do like that.
I think
I also do them plain too.
this is with the same sauce. Mm-hmm. It's really good.
I think, once you're done with this, I think that'll be enough.
I thought I was gonna cut this whole thing.
Did you?
What?
That'd be a lot to cut.
I thought I was gonna cut this whole thing.
Just enough for a taste.
So muktak goes a long way, doesn't it?
It does. But it's really hard to get, so I'm glad that it does. I have to trade a lot to get it. But I love it in Eskimo salad, and that's usually how I make it. Bunch of different land mammals and seafood, and then as a filler, I use coleslaw mix or cabbage, carrots, onions, that kind of thing. I'm gonna try some. When you're done cutting, maybe you could pass that around. I wonder if anybody in our audience has a question. Yeah. Yes. The audience member wants to have a bite. Might there be any other questions? Oh my goodness, Susan, I don't know, you tell us. So I have to tell you really quickly, I'm gonna butcher your last name, but I'm gonna try really hard. Susan Agushak is here with us, and she is an Inuit singer from Canada. And 24 years ago, I was working at the hospital in Bethel, and one of my friends, a doctor, gave me, under the Latuhak in the big yellow building, he gave me a copy of a CD, and it was Susan's CD. And I just was like, oh my God, an Inuit celebrity. And I would go home and turn up my stereo and listen to her one song over and over and over again, Amazing Grace, sung in Inuit language. And there were so many, a lot of our words are the same, so I was able to pick up most of it, but I wore that CD out, and I had the CD case for a good couple of decades, but I must have just thrown it away or something right before I had the privilege of meeting you. But anyway, what is the nutritional value? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like seal, I mean, right? So, yeah, will you put that stuff in here first, and then we'll, are your hands all clean?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you guys have a taste, and then maybe we'll pass it around, huh? Pass tastes around. Do you want to go? Oh, you guys have a taste first, and then maybe pass that around. Are there any other questions, maybe, from the audience? Maybe, Susan, you can hang around for a little bit. Okay. There's hardly anyone here. I mean, it's a lunch hour. Everybody is downstairs, or they're out on lunch on their own. I'm still very happy for this opportunity because there are so many people watching on the web, and then of course all of the residents in rural Alaska who are watching on ARCS. So thank you for joining us. It's been such a, this is always such a pleasure to be able to share. And I'm personally very proud of First Alaskans Institute. They walk the walk. They have interns, they have all of these mentorship programs, and they're really, even though Yupik is like the second most commonly spoken language in the state, there are other languages that are being revitalized. And First Alaskans Institute has really taken it, not upon themselves, but they've really, really championed being able to do that and encouraging it across Alaska. So for that, I'm really grateful. And then, of course, today, we're on GCI's Channel 1, HD 907, ARC statewide, and then firstalaskans.org. Tonight is Chinan, the cultural dance performance for First Alaskans for our Elders and Youth Conference. And then all day tomorrow, again, Elders and Youth will be televised and webcast. Wednesday, however, will only be webcast. And there will be a few videos shown because the groups are going to go into their men's and women's houses. And those are always kept pretty private. Or they're kept private, excuse me. So let me just see how much time we have here. Oh, we have a little bit of time. We're done with our presentation. Unless there are any more questions, I'm sort of grasping at straws here. Does anybody in the audience have any more questions? No? Okay. Yeah, he's gonna pass some muktuk around, but I want Anya to stand up too. And could I get everyone here to give a round of applause to these two young people?